I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I got my brace on.
Yeah, well, I gave you that one.
You want me to do roll call?
No, there you go, yeah.
Awesome. Scott?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Linda?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Okay, approval of the videos and minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Rob?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Steve?
Abstain.
Okay, discussion and approval, financial report, we discuss it here. Okay, look at the bank reconciliation posted for 12/3/2018. We have $1,773,051.36. And the payment listing, here, that. Looks like we spent, wow, $93,648.95. Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
I'll second it.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Scott?
yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, special guest, Ed Dow. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, welcome, welcome.
Mr. President, council members, guests. Let me, before I get started, just run those down the table and I'll give you kind of a idea of what I'm gonna talk about here for a few minutes. Anybody back here wanna take a look at one? Here's the third one. My name is Ed Dow. I and a fellow from Tiffin run the what we call Passport, well, it's Passport and Fishing. It's my chapter, Youth and Fishing. It's under the Passport to Fishing program with ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources. It's a 4-part program. Now these books that you're looking at are about 4 years old. I put them together when I first started the program with the idea that we would have large crowds and I would need help. But I brought them tonight. You can kind of scan through them and get an idea of what I'm going to go over. The Passport to Fishing program is, as I said, under ODNR's program. It's a 4-part program consisting of habitat and handling. That'll be the different sections you'll see under different colored tabs. Habitat and handling, casting, knots and rigging, and then local information. And when we get to the local information, I like to try and get local people that are familiar with the area or that have had experience with different things. We've had a fellow from Gibsonburg, a couple of them from Gibsonburg, brought a bunch of pelts and skins in and talked. We've had Ohio State seed program up out of Elmore came down and he spent some time. They brought some of the trinkets and stuff, bobbers and things like that that they could give away. Basically, it was originally organized when we started for the kids, and as the book says there, front page says like 7 to 17, and I had a lot of grandmothers and older folks that were interested in understanding what the kids were learning. I have to fill out a card that goes back to the state, a registration card, and you know, if you look through it, you'll see that in the front again. This lets them know how we're doing, and in turn, they get so many dollars for the time that I spend and that Dave spends in our preparation time for to put the program on. Now, I like to keep the limited, classes limited to about 20. We can handle it. These books were put together with the idea that we might have 60 kids. Initially, if we got into that big of a crowd, we divided into 4 sessions. Those 4 sessions, okay, you might handle habitat and handling. You might take care of casting. You do this and you do that. And then we round robin it. Try and hold those sessions to about 30 minutes. Well, with the kids, that didn't work. They usually run upwards of 45 minutes, because we do have some activities where they get in there, and when we talk about habitat handling, some of these little kids have never handled a fish, right? Well, I have some activities where they don't have fish, but we emulate that and cover a dish with some rubber baits in it, with dish soap and that. Well, I'm not sticking my hand in. Well, you get them to do it, and then they got suds all over, you know. Once one does it, and they all find out, you know, and it becomes fun. We have a structured program, but it's very liberal. Kids ask questions. We've had kids we actually did a program in Worcester with it's a children's home down there on the north end of Worcester. You may have heard of it or be familiar with it. It's out and it's for kids that have been in problem kids. And when the game warden from that district, that's District 3, when they came, kids got a little bit nervous, because now here's an official car pulls up, here's a fella comes in uniform, you know. And until they understood what he was about, you know, then it relaxed. Little kids don't have, you know, they don't understand all that. They just get in there and they have a good time. What I need to know is, if we set up a program far enough ahead that I can get the grants, because we can do what they call step outside, which means I can buy snacks, bait, terminal tackle, things like that. I also have access to a rod and reel grant, which means I can buy rods and reels combos, and in the past, the state's given them to me. I just call John down there or send him an email and say, John, I got a class for 30. Boom, they send me the equipment. They've had too many cases where people have come up with weird addresses, and UPS or FedEx gets there and there's nobody there, that type of thing. So now I have to buy them, but they grant me the money. They say I can do it anytime, but you know, if they send me a whole bunch of money and then I don't use it, then they want it back.
Right.
You know, you guys probably know
Yeah.
about that with the program and stuff that you run here. I've talked to Joyce about getting on a committee for the park, and I guess that's in the mill and working. And I'm hoping that with contacts that I have, which isn't a great deal, but a few contacts, and this program, that maybe we can get something going out here. Now, I'm not originally from the area. I'm from Bradner. My wife, you probably know the Butziers from Kansas. Okay, my wife is Barbara, and my mother-in-law down here, Evelyn, at the corner.
Right.
So they know the people, and the stories that I've heard, there's a little friction between Pettsville, Kansas, Old Fort, that type of thing, especially with the school situation. I'm hoping that there is a possibility that at least we can narrow that or cut some of that friction down. If we could get the park going, get some activities out there. I have not been out there to see, but I understand there is a pond in the back. There's the one in the park where they swim in that, but I've been told there's one back farther that is capable of fishing. I don't know.
It's all one.
It's all one.
big
It's
thing.
all one?
Yeah, there's not another one.
Okay, like I say, I
Yeah.
apologize for that. I haven't
no,
been out
that's
there.
fine.
Just
That's where
what I've
everybody
heard.
fishes, though, is down at that end usually.
Okay,
Yeah.
however they do it. I like to run the program, like I say, for about 30 minutes a session. Usually it works into 45. It can sneak into an hour. It depends on how activity, you know, how the kids, how
And if the
active they
kids are
get.
responding, you keep them
We've
in.
done things
No,
like,
we
the
don't
park
really.
would be beautiful because we can get out there, there's a big section out there that they can go practice casting
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
then learn how to handle the rods. For those that don't know, I've had a lot of them that do, well, you know, that's the fun of it, and that's where we want, that's where they've expanded it. When I started, and it was like 4 to 17, but we had grandmothers and that were there, I made them fill out one of those registration cards, because they're standing there, they're sitting there, they're listening to what's going on.
Exactly.
State might as well know that you're involved too.
Yes.
Right.
And since then, it seems like they've, whether I had anything to do with that, or whether all of the clubs, we're nonprofit, we work as a nonprofit. But, it's me and a fellow from Tiffin. So, we have a nonprofit ID number, but I can't really claim nonprofit because we don't have the president, vice president, no,
Right.
this whole group.
Right.
But we work nonprofit, so. That's a quick run over of what we do, what we try to do. Anybody got any questions?
I think it's a good
I
thing.
think that's a real good
I
thing.
mean,
Yeah.
Do you have any connections to get it stocked?
pardon?
Do you have any connections that might help us get it stocked?
I can, under the Step Outside grant, I think there is money that can be approved for stocking.
I was just curious. I had looked into it before and it was, I made a bunch of calls and they called me back a couple times and then it just kind of fell apart.
Well, I've only applied one time for a Step Outside grant,
What
only
about
because,
We've
Matt
had
Markey?
that
Could
before.
we get a hold of Matt Markey maybe and have him help us? He's kind of a local guy too, that writes for the Toledo Blade.
Okay.
To get some fishing derby stuff started or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. I really do think if we could get something like that going, that could bring in some money too, you
Mm-hmm.
know, besides the other stuff, you know.
well, the events that I have been involved with, usually the host, I'll say the host organization, has provided the snacks and
Exactly.
things like that, and they've had ponds already that they have stocked. Just down in Wooster, that one.
There's some fishing there, but I don't know what kind.
Isaac Walton League down there allowed us to go over and use their facility for the fishing. Millard Pond out here, we did one through the youth organization there, what they call it, Smile, I guess it is. I've kind of forgotten the name. There's two organizations there in Tiffin. One of them is down by the church, operates out of the church, I think, down where the Civil War Museum is at,
Oh.
on the other side of the street, but he has an office in behind there. I forget exactly the name of it. But they contacted Conservation District and we were allowed to go out to Miller Pond
That's good.
and use their facility to fish, and we actually put it on. Herewood Town would be good, the fire hall here would be a good place to put on the presentation. If they have a building, I think there is some shelters out
Oh,
there.
yes.
But,
Yeah.
you know, if the weather was a little inclement, that it would be, you know, it'd be preferable to conduct this seminars inside,
Right.
but that's, as I said, I've only done one where I've applied for the grant, so I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure, and I can check what they've told me, but I think that's one of the things that's available to be used money for, is stocking. And I know there's a couple of stocking facilities, Jones Fisheries. I don't know if the state up at Castalia, I know they stock with trout now.
Yes, they do, yeah.
But this Jones Fishery out of Columbus, north of Columbus, I think they have pretty much everything. I get their catalogs. And, I've not been involved with them, but I,
Right.
you know, requested information and I've gotten it
I don't
from
think
them.
they need like certain kind of water.
Well, that about kills my 15 minutes. Is
Yeah.
anybody?
I wasn't
Any
paying
questions?
any attention.
We were very interested in what you have in, you know, what you have in mind, so I think, you know, and, I think we all agree, you know, the park is your oyster out there.
Well, I'd like to see it, you know,
Mhm.
go. I know, I have all of the pins when they did the balloon fests out there.
Mhm.
I managed to get each one of those for the, 4 or 5 years that they did that.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I apologize, I'm not from the area, I don't know a lot of the people. I've met Joyce and you know, none of the rest of you I know, but I live right out here on the county line. Just down the county line, across the railroad, it's the third house on the right, next to
Okay.
where Terry Overmeyer used to live.
Mhm.
It's the next house down, between them and the Mallories.
Yes,
Barb used to have the ceramic shop out
Yeah.
there
right,
years ago, so
exactly.
anybody that remembers that, so.
And anytime, you know, you need any questions, you can just call me, you know, and I can get around these
Mhm.
guys.
I think it's
Well, we
a good
appreciate your
idea.
effort.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
do.
We need to get the kids involved in stuff, you know, and I think this is a wonderful thing, you know.
It
Well,
is.
I don't know and haven't heard too much of any other organizations in town here that other, I mean, we don't
There
have a
aren't
scout troop, we don't have,
No, not anymore,
we don't
no.
have,
No,
Does Old Fort still have a scout troop?
I,
Believe they do.
I think so.
Do they?
Bill Miller used to be the scoutmaster, so, and they're usually at the fair. I saw them at the fair.
Yeah. Who were the kids that did the things that was making the benches and stuff? Remember he came to the council a couple years ago, he made benches. Was that Boy Scout or was that something else?
I don't,
I was thinking that was Scouts.
yeah,
Was it Scouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so,
From
yeah.
Old Fort.
But
Maybe
this
we
is,
could-
this is a good way to get started.
Yeah, maybe we can get them interested again.
Exactly.
I have a card if anybody
Sure.
Yes,
is
please.
interested.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just throw 3, 4 of them on it.
There you go, okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much, Ed, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Thank
really
you.
do.
Anybody
Yes,
else,
thank
anybody
you.
get one that wants one, or?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
Sounds
I'll be
good.
talking to you again a little bit later, whenever.
Okay,
All right, I'll
Okay.
give you a call.
all righty, I guess,
if you need anything else from us, let us know.
okay, well, my
Yeah, he hasn't talked to
contact's
me
sitting
because.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
Right,
you.
thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thank you
Appreciate the
very much.
time and,
Yeah.
let's
And
hope
call
we
me
can get
about the
something going.
popcorn balls then.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
all righty,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Merry Christmas.
Any questions on the financial budget or audits? Please? How are you doing today?
Good, how are you? For the month of November, there were 5 traffic citations, 9 traffic warnings, 2 thefts or B&Es, 3 disturbances or disorderly conducts, 2 non-criminal city alarm calls, 3 assists, and 3 any other category. So a total of 27 calls were handled in the village, and I handled 18 of those for 66%.
Hey, he's walking the dog without a leash again, okay? Keep an eye out, okay?
Fire. Mike?
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
Sorry I couldn't make it earlier.
You've been sick, haven't you?
No,
Oh,
I threw my back out,
Oh.
well, is that the
that's
same
even
thing?
worse.
I guess, kind
Yeah,
of.
kind of, sort of.
Oh, that's actually Angela's. That's actually-
Oh, that's Angela's,
Give us
who I just
Angela.
gave it to.
I'll give it to her, I've got her.
She said she's gonna need one. We've had 10 calls for the month of November. And that brings us up to 129, which yesterday's call makes 130 for the year.
Ooh,
It's been a busy year then.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep,
golly.
yep. But everybody's call volume's up that I've talked to, so. The biggest thing is the EMR calls. We got a lot of those. And last I talked to the guy with the truck, he said we were about 10 weeks out, and that was the day after the council meeting he contacted me, so I'm guessing another 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, something like that, before we.
Second or third week in January.
Okay, now when you go out,
Hoping.
oh, poor you.
Okay.
You all right? You need a drink?
Want me to hit you?
Yeah.
You have to take, how many trucks you gotta take when you go on an ambulance call?
It all depends, we usually send 2,
Two? You don't get any kind of compensation from anybody for like your gas and stuff like that?
just you guys,
Just us.
just our
yeah.
contracts.
Really? You know,
Yep.
I think since they made that rule, everybody's, you know, it really cuts
That's one
into
reason-
your profits.
Well,
you
that's the
know?
reason
Yeah.
why we bought, or not bought, that's the reason why we took the old police cruiser. just
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
could try to save our guys from using their fuel,
Right.
Mhm, yeah.
driving everywhere, so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that makes sense, you know.
But no, we don't get no reimbursement.
Okay.
Only time we get reimbursed is when, if it's a hazmat scene,
Hazmat,
Yep.
okay.
the only time we can bill.
So back to the fire truck, then, we have the loan and all that stuff straightened out, and all everything taken care of?
I tried to get a hold of him today and he didn't get back with me, but
Who's he?
I
The guy
tried
down
calling him
there?
3 or 4 times over to Old Fort Bank.
Oh, the bank guy,
Yeah.
the loan officer or whatever, the,
I don't have a solid number yet. And
We really don't have an actual, per se, we'll have to go with what the contract is, and then however much money the chassis was and subtract, and that's not exactly how much we owe, but.
We actually got, some paperwork that you need to fill out, Mike, that he needs to,
Okay,
so.
alright.
yeah, we need to get that.
But
that
we're
shored
working
up.
on it.
Okay, I just wanna get short up, I don't wanna wait till the last minute, I wanna make sure we got it.
Yeah, I think John and I just talked a couple of days ago, a week ago, whatever it was, about trying to get it buttoned up, so.
Get it all cleaned up so everybody knows where we're at financial and all that
Yep.
stuff, so we can budget stuff
Yep.
next year. No loose cannons out there, folks, that we don't need, that know about.
And then I didn't put on the, I just put down, we just had our air pack service. And then also something just remembered, on the budget, I didn't know if we were gonna take what was left over from this year's budget and put it into a line item or something so we can help make a truck payment. Because I don't think that the levy money is gonna pay for,
That stuff was already taken care of in the past,
okay,
of what that goes into.
okay.
Didn't we do that
I
already?
thought we did, but I just didn't know for sure. I don't, it's
The
been a
money he's
while.
got left over from his county trucks, he goes, carries over.
The special levy?
No.
Not special.
his
Yeah,
budget.
we've been hearing it.
I thought it did too, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that's,
Yeah.
if we need, I didn't know if we needed to actually specify and make it so it's for the truck payment or whatever, but,
No.
I do it when I do
Okay.
my budget, I do a line at the bottom for Julie.
okay.
So I think we got it covered, so.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure the bases were covered before we, cause I don't think that the loan,
Well,
not the loan, but the
well,
special levy money's gonna
I'll
cover.
talk, yeah, it will, Mike.
Well, okay. I know one time we
We've
were,
saved some money, well, see, I ballparked it at $100,000 and said it's gonna cost us 25 a year for 5 years, but we're not gonna have to take out 100,000.
and the
It's
association.
less than that, so it's
Association.
not gonna be, that was just what we was figuring off our heads.
Association's willing to help out too as best they can, so we need to help pay some of that,
We should be okay though with the levy money,
so.
cause you've banked it.
Yeah, I've been trying to, anyway.
Done a good job.
When I gave Angela the check for Jackson Township that I received last night.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep, thanks. Yep, thanks.
Clean up?
Nah,
Nothing? Water sewer, John?
Do I need you?
For the Jackson Township contract?
Oh.
You don't need me for anything else, do you? I'm about to make popcorn balls.
You've
that's
seen
why I
it,
was-
you've seen the contract,
Yeah, I've
you're okay
actually,
with
there's only, real quick, there's only 2 different things on the fire contract. One of them is, they're requesting a list of firemen, phone numbers and addresses.
Okay.
And then, another thing is that, I can tell you real quick, I got a copy of the contract. The only other one is that the fire company will call for mutual aid from a neighboring department on all structure fires, is what their mandate, which we do already anyway, but they just put it in the contract.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's the only thing they changed in the contract from last year, or whatever it was, what they told me, so. Other than that, we should be good. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna go help make.
Okay,
We'll
thank you.
holler if we need you.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Make a bunch, we're selling them, Mike.
Okay, for street, all the equipment's ready for winter. Just waiting for that to happen, I guess. It sounds like it's gonna start getting cold. The house behind the funeral home is gone,
Yep,
Huh?
apparently.
it's gone.
Yeah.
The one,
down at Holler.
Yeah, I mean, they tore it down or something, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, demolished it, yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
yeah, I got that put in the land bank, so they
Okay.
get rid of it. That was where we were having the
Yeah.
problems, so. That is gone. Apparently, the fence was not part of what they do.
Okay,
So, I mean, we can take it down if you guys want it down, or leave it.
Are they gonna sell that property, or is it gonna be?
I would, from the way it sounds,
Was
once.
that in the floodplain?
yes,
Well, that's not
part
our
of it
problem,
is. Part of it is, yes.
but that's not our problem.
Right, no,
It doesn't
it's the
matter.
land bank's problem now.
The land bank will try and sell it to recoup some of their money, but
Yes.
it doesn't have anything to do with Bettsville,
Okay.
so.
Because I had somebody ask me if the land would be for sale, and I said, I honestly don't know, I'll have to check with John and see who you have to contact.
Eventually it will be, but they'll come back in either when it freezes or whatever with a dozer and get the rest of it cleaned off
Yeah.
and reseeded in the spring and whatnot, but other than that, they're done there, so. I guess it's up to you guys if you guys want that fence torn out of there so it's out of those right of ways and whatnot.
I think I
I
would,
mean,
what do you
when
guys
it,
think?
when it freezes, we can go down there and I can get ahold of Sam, we can go down there and pull.
Because if you don't, it's gonna, if you don't take care of it, it's gonna fall down anyhow, we might as well clean up now while we've got it controlled.
Because I didn't know if it was falling out or if people were taking pieces.
No, it's been blowing down.
Has it been?
Well, it was put up backwards. anyhow,
Yes, it was,
so.
but you couldn't at the point tell him anything,
Right,
so.
right. Regardless. Yeah, when it freezes, we can go down there for
You
something.
guys okay with that, I mean, the rest of the council?
Yeah.
And did they tear down that barn that goes
Oh,
under
yes,
there?
it's
That's
gone.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is gone.
Concrete's gone, it's all gone.
Oh,
The
really?
pads are gone, it's all
Yeah.
So when
gone.
did they do this,
I know
this
they
week?
tore
A
the
couple weeks ago,
The day after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That Friday and Saturday.
yep.
And then I had to go down there and give him a hand, cause he come in to get one of the hoppers and buried the truck back in there. But, yeah. The day I was supposed to wipe snow off the signs is when I was helping.
Oh, is that
guy.
when that,
Might be a
What?
good
Oh,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a thing on
I
Facebook.
think
Oh,
we
No
really?
did
big
it
deal.
out.
Oh,
Well, at some point, that's liable to change hands, and I hope they explain to them that there's not very much you can do with that property.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, just have a nice,
I actually know somebody that's interested in it to put a pole barn up on it.
They better put it up where the house is, or otherwise it'll float away.
Well, right.
are we even allowed to do that?
That's not our,
And that,
well,
Yeah, they will, if they want a permit from us.
yeah, but I don't know how that works when it's already in a floodplain.
well, it's because
You-
it's insurance
We,
issue.
See, I-
that house that blew up, when they wanted to buy that, we had to explain to them, you can't do anything with it, it's in a floodplain. And we can't do it
where
there.
Paige's house was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we explained that to them during.
'Cause it was in a-
That's part of the minutes.
Because when the
Yeah,
creek
you're right.
flooded, it came up all the way to the hill to
So
the
I would
house.
say,
Right.
no, we
You
Well,
know,
someone would
and the
have to get
barn.
in contact with the county, cause the
Yes.
county's who determines the floodplain.
Right.
That's
Yes,
not us.
exactly.
So that's, yeah, that's.
Because I think that whole thing come, when we had the flooded that one time, they come in here, and that was a FEMA that came in here that time, and they kind of remapped that whole thing, and that's what that all kind of started, because I know it affected a lot of people that already had existing
But a
property.
lot of it came out of it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's property on Creek Road that came out of the floodplain after.
yeah,
Oh,
you should never been in there to
I'd
begin
almost
with.
wanna lay a paycheck on that is not gonna come out of that.
No, I don't think so.
No,
either.
no.
I was surprised
They're
that
gonna
there was a
have-
house on there anyhow, but
And it,
It started
when they
with
first
Rice's.
tried to sell that, if you walk through the
that was a
house,
Smith when I
all that
started here.
imitation
but-
Okay.
parquet floor.
And then
was all
Rice's,
bubbled
and then
up
there was a
and
drug
everything,
raid,
the water
and then
was
Smith's bought it, and then they left,
Yeah,
and
you
Heather
can't
bought
do
it.
anything.
But anywho, that'll be all cleaned up then,
Okay.
we'll get the rest of that out of
Okay.
there. I don't wanna tear it up anymore, he's gotta come in,
Wait till
They're
Tuesday.
contracted with the county
Yeah,
to
just
clean
wait
up
till
their
they're
mess.
gone.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The water telemetry, we found out the issue that we were having with connection problems was the SIM card in the unit was for T-Mobile and not Verizon.
Makes a big difference, huh?
Yeah, so the new SIM card's supposed to be, well, it was supposed to be delivered to the company today, so they should be in tomorrow or Thursday to get that taken care of. The harness for the generator at the sewer plant is supposed to be delivered Friday,
Okay,
so hopefully
get that resolved.
we can get that taken care of. Still, we've been turning in all the paperwork to the insurance company, so we're trying to stay on top of that. And that's really all I have right now.
And all the street stuff got done and everything got finalized then? I see
The streets,
all
yeah,
the paving was finalized and everything, okay.
all done until next year.
I noticed there's a pothole on Seneca Street that should be taken care
Oh,
of.
is there? Okay. Yeah, I'll have to get some more cold patch.
We just paved that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Did we?
Mm,
Been a while, yeah?
Yeah, it's been quite a few years.
It's been quite a few years since we did
Yeah,
that.
well, quite a few years, it was.
How many
it was-
streets in town need to
It
be
was
done?
after we did.
We have
after
two
did
that haven't been done since I've been here, and that's Sullivan and Elm.
The street's supposed to last
Exactly.
11 years according to,
So,
It's called back.
yeah. All back.
Cut it out and fix it.
We'll call Domino's.
Yeah.
All right, this conversation
Okay,
just went
okay,
south.
yeah, okay. Okay, thanks, John. Yeah, I
okay.
appreciate it. Yeah, got me
I'll let you
confused too.
control meetings, but
I thought I was doing better sometimes, so.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
Up until that. Well, this can't
What's it
The
here
park,
last
is there anything
month?
on the park?
Yeah, I pretty well got the park board all together. I was still looking for one person kind of in the Old Fort area, if we could find somebody that likes us, that wants to even think about helping us, but, I've got 5, you know, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and tell them they're it, and then if they can find somebody, then they can do that, okay? Chucky, you're up, and, you're gonna be the lead thing on this thing. I think I've talked to you before on this. And I'll give you all your information you have to know here when I get done, okay? So, but, starting January 1st, we wanna kinda get people motivated to start thinking about, we're gonna get this thing open this spring or summer or whatever, and get some money in here, and, you know, we're gonna have to set some things and stuff like that. I'm pretty excited about it, so,
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
okay?
See how it
Yep.
goes.
Yeah.
The zoning, we have any issues with the zoning that you know?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go down, well, one thing, I'm gonna go down and look at that property there on the corner of,
Liberty and Union.
and Union, and, might send them off a letter, ask them what they're planning on doing, and let them know that
The
if
house.
they're gonna be
Yeah.
improving that house, they need to have a permit.
They've already got
They got it
everything.
from
Did you
here?
get one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're putting it upstairs above the kitchen. I'm all
They're-
excited.
they're
It's really
working
gonna be
on it.
nice when they get it
There you
done.
go, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he come and got a permit for an addition on the rear of it before he even dug for the footer.
Mm-hmm.
okay, good enough,
Yeah.
good enough.
No, That's a good thing.
They wanna try to put it back to its former glory when old Dorette and Edna had it, so hopefully, I'm looking for good things, and they're really nice people, so,
No,
Yeah.
that's what we need.
Good.
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 We want good
Glad to
people.
hear.
Yeah, that's what we want.
okay?
So I guess in the next one, I'd like to go into executive session, and talk about personnel.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
You don't have to do a roll call or anything.
I'm writing it down here.